We were driving down the fucking road, and Scoot and our photographer at the time were just sleeping in the back.
I was in the back too.
Yeah, I was like,
it was nighttime, by the way.
Was Bobby with us? I think Bobby was driving, and I was up front with him. And Kyle was like chilling in the middle row. And we're just driving along, listening to fucking whatever. And then we just hear Scoot go, "I drank piss!" And he opens the back door while we're on the highway and starts puking.
Welcome to the 83rd episode of the Accusations creation. I'm your host, Chris Deering. This is the show where I interview bands and public figures in the mathcore and mathcore adjacent community. If you beautiful people in chat have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them and I'll try to read them aloud. If they like the sub for $5 to get access to some exclusive emotes as well as access to the interviews before they hit YouTube and other streaming services. You can also sub for free by attaching Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. It's like taking $5 from Jeff Bezos' pocket and putting it into mine. If you like to watch this on YouTube or listening to this if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this in your car and have no idea what I'm talking about, the show is first recorded live on Twitch. Join us every Sunday and Wednesday at twitch.tv/thecastin's for the live cast. With that out of the way, let me introduce our guests today who dropped their debut album, Twisted World Perspective, back in July through Dark Trail Records, Here Goes Nothing Records, and Don't Stress Flower Press. Welcome in Fall 50 Feet. How's it going, guys?
We're Fall 50 Feet.
Yo,
what up, dog? Like,
great.
We out here.
Life is good.
We out here, man.
I got a bird on my shoulder.
It's a beautiful bird.
I'm Jim. I play guitar. I write a lot of the songs, and I also do vocals.
My name's Zack or Scoot. I play bass in some vocals.
I'm Dave, and I do screamo
Well,
and a couple spoken word sections.
All right. Well, it's great that you guys got here. So why call the band Fall 50 Feet?
Here we go.
Well, I didn't mean like from that. Yeah, we won't get into that quite yet. I'm just saying, why'd y'all land on that name?
Why, you're asking questions about the band? I thought we were asking you questions about your band.
No, it's the other way around, man.
Okay.
Maybe next time.
So I came up with the name. It was like the first name I thought of when we decided to rebrand. And I based it off of like, I wanted it to be a long name, like Fear Before the March of Flames or From a Second Story Window. So I basically took like the F's from Fear Before the March of Flames, and I was like, from a second story window, that's falling, and I was like, fall 50 feet, because I always liked alliteration. So that's where that name came from. And I was like,
really?
All lowercase in one word because that's hard, and I like Sky Came Falling.
That's crazy, dude. I was not expecting that answer. I thought it was maybe that's like where most people die. Like if they fell, it would be like 50 feet. I actually Googled it. Turns out the median distance is 48 feet. So I thought that y'all would like with fall 50 feet because it was like just, a couple more after that. It sounded a little bit better. But
weird coincidence. What if we named it Fall 48 Feet? That would have been a little longer, I guess.
Well, no, I thought that y'all went another 2 feet to make sure that it actually worked. But anyway, You guys started as a band called False Accusations, James and Dave being there from the beginning, and Zack joining in on I Know You Must Ache. So how did you guys get together, start making music with each other?
Jim, this is for you. I don't want to explain this. It's a long story.
So a long time ago, on almost another life, it seems, I was a 15-year-old boy. And I had no friends. I had some friends, but no friend. I lived in a small town. My graduating class was about 30 people. Jesus. So it was very small. And there was no one who liked metalcore in my school.
Are we effing in the chat? Or are we on? Are we still alive?
FFF in the chat.
Ooh.
Do y'all have the stream pulled up by any chance? Or
yeah.
On your phones? Is it running?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think they might be.
It's just this thing because we'd say FFF in the chat.
Fall 50 feet. Okay.
If you take all
Jesus
three
Christ.
letters from our band name, people say F.
Oh yeah. Well, that's also people say when
name.
the stream's down, right? So like,
there's 3 letters in our name actually, and one of them, all 3 of them are F's. Okay. So,
okay, sorry.
When I was 15 and I was from a really small town, no one played music. And no one liked metalcore. And so I was like, I want to start a band. And I met him on tumblr.com, the website tumblr.com. And so I met him on Tumblr. I actually made fun of him. That's how I met him, and it was funny. And we both bonded over liking the band The Plot in You. And then we became friends. He was living in Illinois at the time. I was living in Ohio. And we became friends. And we were jokingly like, we should start a band. And then we literally were like, we should start a band. And so we jokingly were like, okay, band names. We just came up with a bunch of them. And then we landed on False Accusations. And we made a page that same day. And then I was like, well, I know this guy, Kyle. And Kyle, I met him from YouTube. And because I used to make YouTube videos, like covers and shit. I was like 11. And so I met him. He was from Wisconsin. And I was like, Kyle's a drummer. And so we basically decided to start a band. But yeah, so that's how we started. And then we were an internet band for a while. Then when Dave turned 18, he moved down and we got a place together eventually. And so we wanted to take it seriously. We got a new bassist. That bassist was really good, but then he instantly was like, I can't tour. So we're like, okay, well, you're out of the band because we need to tour. And so this guy I knew from playing like local shows and just like around the area. He had been playing in like a handful of bands. He's one of those dudes who played in a lot of bands. And so I'd actually recorded his old band when he was an alcoholic. And then he stopped being an alcoholic and stopped playing music for a while. And then he was trying to play music again. And our drummer at the time, Kyle, was recording his band. And his band was still full of like his friends who were alcoholics. So they weren't getting anything done. And so he was kind of like, hey, could I maybe, what up? And so he just come to a show. And like, I vividly remember him walking up to me or like me walking up to him. He was like, hey, what's up? Like I told him to come see us at a show and we talked to him about possibly, joining the band or something, his like goals. I vividly remember first thing Scoot saying when he walked up to me after I hadn't seen him in years was, let me join your band. And it was pretty much history from there. He joined not long after. And then it kind of became us. We're like always the core members of the band and whatnot.
Okay. Chat seems to think your parrots are very chill, by the way.
Emphasis on core members. Metal core.
Wait.
Very good.
What's really chill?
Your bird's very chill.
Oh.
That's Kiwi.
Kiwi.
Does Kiwi eat kiwis?
Yes.
Is that considered cannibalism?
Yes.
Yeah. Very good.
Which we condone.
Yeah. When he eats Slim Jims, he's eating Jimmy's.
Kiwi was a fruit.
Yeah.
Kiwi's a flower.
So you guys built up a pretty big following of False Accusations. It looked like you guys are actually poised to blow up. And then you said, fuck it, let's start all over. Just rip everything down. I kind of think I know why, but just wanted to hear from you guys. Why would you do this?
Okay, so
Let's do it.
here's what had happened, right? We had talked about changing our name a few times because we had gotten, I remember specifically one time we were playing a show we were on tour with the Callistyle Boys.
We're on the tour with the Callistyle Boys.
And we were playing the show in Kentucky, and someone tweeted, there's actually a band called False Accusations. And a lot of people came to our defense, but yeah, from then on, we kind of thought it was a cringe name because like it has a lot of bad connotations to it. So yeah, it was like the day, I remember we were in our chat, we were talking about getting new merch made for our tour, which turned out to be our last tour as False Accusations. And we were like, literally like he was sending mock-ups and stuff. And our photographer was like, you guys think you should change your name? And we were like, because I remember we were talking about like, wouldn't it be cool if we got signed? Because Kay and Ashi had just announced that they signed to Equal Vision Records. And he was like, yeah, you guys probably can't get signed with that name. And we were like, oh.
I was literally like, if we can't get signed with a name like this, why are we still using this name?
Right.
And so literally all agreed right then and there that we were going to stop.
And I came up with Fall 50 Feet later that night.
But so Dave actually left out a bunch of the important stuff. So let me go back. I'm going to scrub up Dave's dirty job.
Why are you holding my fucking eye?
Sorry. Okay. So while what Dave said is all true, This was 2019, and that same year we had started recording Twisted World Perspective in April of 2019. This was like August of 2019, and what happened the end of 2018, Kyle, our old drummer, who's now the drummer of 156 Silence,
Shouts out
really?
156.
we're still friends with, he left, and like we hated each other at that point. We had very bad, like, you know, we didn't mesh with each other. It was like us versus him all the time. So he left right after we booked studio time for Twisted World Perspective. And so we immediately were like, okay, we already paid a deposit. We have to go in the studio in April. So let's find a fill-in drummer. And so we tried to find friends, but no one could really do it at the time. So we ended up finding a random kid on the internet that we're not going to name. And so that kid came in and totally fucked us over. And we basically were very behind on everything. He came in, didn't know the songs, and spent 4 days recording and then didn't finish the whole album, and he left.
God damn.
So that's what happened with that. And so we had 10 days planned, and 4 of them were spent recording drums that we didn't finish. So we finished out the 10 days and finished like, I'd say like 80% of the album. And then we went back like a few months later, finished some more stuff, but it was in the middle of a tour, and we had a fill-in drummer with us, and we were like, the fill-in drummer was like, I could redo the drums on this album. And we were like, let's fucking do it, because I don't want this kid to be playing on our album. I hate him real bad, because like he fucked us over real bad. So anyway, we decided to do that, and then we ended up breaking up. And that part of the reason was like, okay, we're already like changing form. We're already doing this new album. It's going to take a while to finish, because that dude who said he would record the drums dipped out. He like kind of ghosted us. And so we ended up having to find someone else. Our friend
God
Jay.
damn, y'all are having the worst luck with drummers. Jesus.
Yeah, it was, well, so we finished the drums on the album when we were in the studio originally. Greg, the dude who recorded our album, had his friend come in and finish the 3 tracks that weren't finished, but everything was so disjointed. That kid who came in to record the drums originally and screwed us over, basically it was like programming drums, because he was so like not in tune with what we were doing. Like everything was so wrong that he was having to edit parts together piece by piece, you know?
Yeah.
So basically we were like, okay, we already got to do stuff. We don't want all this work we're going to have to do for this album to go to waste, because we have a dumb name that I came up when I was 15. So we basically were like, we want to break up and come back. The idea was to come back with like a full lineup of like 4 or 5 people. But I mean, you know, we tried to run with a drummer, and, you know, it's hard to find people who mesh, who have the exact same ideas as you and like want the same things out of music as you. And so
Right.
we ended up running just with us 3, even though like our plans were different months before that. It's just because we're the core of, you know, what the music is. So it works the best.
That's interesting. Well, so why don't y'all have like a full-time drummer now? And I saw on a video where y'all were in a studio, you had like a second guitarist and stuff like that. Is that like the idea, is to get 2 more people in here?
I'd like to never play without a second guitarist. I never don't write 2 guitar parts to most of our stuff, and I never did in our last band either. So it was just like, I don't know. There's like too much nuance, and I hate being the only guitarist playing on a stage, because then everything falls on you. It's like when we play shows in FA, like we're a crazy live band, and everything was breaking constantly. Every time my guitar fucked up, you knew, because I was the only guitarist. If you have 2 guitarists, if something goes wrong, at least it's not like dropping out completely. It's only like halfway dropping out, you know?
Yeah.
Or you can fix something, you know, without like someone like completely noticing. So, and just like the songs have 2 guitar parts, so I want them.
You should just mime the guitar to your recorded tracks like a pop star.
I mean,
big brain.
we could fucking, you know, play to a click and like wire out the second guitar to like a live amp and reamp it. But I mean, I'd maybe do that, but
I was completely kidding,
to
by the
keep-
way.
I know, but I'd like to keep things as live as they can be. It's just, I don't know. We'll see. But for right now, we have Nick, who's Coward Device, kind of filling in for us, like for the foreseeable future on second guitar. And we have like our friend Bobby Crow playing drums for us, but he's in like a band that he plays in full time. So he's only going to be he's only really playing with us because he's so close. So like we have practice tonight and he practiced with us, but like our next tour is going to be Alec Martin from Fever Dreams and what's the other band?
The Sky So Black.
The Sky So Black.
Okay. Cell Damage is in the chat. They say drummers are overrated.
Nice.
Cell Damage the band.
Yeah.
I'm glad we've been a band for a short time, but it's nice that we've had such an influence that bands have started naming themselves after us. That's cool. It's very nifty. I think it's neat. I do this for the kids.
Shouts out Cell Damage.
Dude, Cell Damage fucking rules.
That's on God.
So you just dropped your debut album, Twisted World Perspective. Seems like it's basically kind of what y'all were doing in False Accusations. Like y'all didn't change sound at all. Y'all just did a name change. That's about right?
Well, we were recording the album as False Accusations, so it was set to be like our LP as False Accusations.
It's everything. It's better. It's like literally like we were just going to be better, but also. I don't know. It's weird because I showed the album to a lot of people before we were even whatever. And like a lot of people said it sounded similar, but a lot of people were like, it's like way more of a step up. But the weird thing is
it is better than some of the False Accusations stuff.
And I think the biggest thing is the production, but also, I mean, we just never did a proper album and it wasn't as fleshed out, Greg just is a great producer and got a lot out of us. But as for the writing, like, the songs were all written while we were still False Accusations. Some of the songs are really old, actually. Like I think the oldest ones are from 2017. Like,
jeez,
Almost Heaven was written the morning of He Is Legend show we played because I remember the demo was titled Morning of, and it was like we were playing with He Is Legend that night. Shortcuts to Hell was written in 2008. No, I think I was 17 too. And then Anything That Can Go Wrong was written in 2017 or early 2018. And then all the rest of the songs were written in 2018. So,
that's crazy. Y'all been sitting on this for a long time then.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was very agonizing because like after we finished the drums in January of 2020. We didn't get a mix back for the album until November of that year. So like we had been sitting on the album. We didn't get any updates at all. And like, no shade to Greg. Like it was just kind of how he works, but I didn't know that's how he worked. Like he didn't want to send it to us until it was like not finished, but he had everything in line. And because of COVID and everything, like he was kind of set back, and it just was like my mental health for like 2 years was pretty much shot because I would be like, literally, I would listen to the demos. Well, not even the demos, like the rough tracks from the studio that we had since basically the second time we went. I'd listen to the rough tracks from the studio and be like, this is so awesome. Like, I'm so happy. And then at some point in the week, I would just go through an existential crisis of like, this is never going to be done. Like, I feel like I'm just being stagnant because I'm just waiting for something to happen.
Right.
For like a year and a half or 2 years, I felt like everything in the world was just out of my control. Like, couldn't get a drummer, was waiting on like people to reply to me that never would, like drum wise and stuff like that. And then like our album was just out of my hands. I couldn't make anything go faster than it would, It's just everything was terrible. At one point, like we had like video people like drop, like we recorded 2 of the videos, the Shortcut Style and the Parting Gift video in July of 2020. And like the person who was doing those videos, like kind of just dropped the ball, and we didn't end up finishing them until February and March, like of this year. So like everything was just like waiting. nothing was getting done. It was a very nerve-wracking like couple of years.
Dude, that sounds awful. Christ. I'm glad you got it out here.
It was awful.
So you guys have a pretty original sound, I would say. It's not just mathcore. There's math rock in there. There's straight up rock. Definitely like a southern tinge on everything. So what are the influences going into your sound?
We rock.
Oh yeah, you do.
So I mean, well, like it's weird because like I said, these songs are really old, and like why I still love them. Like I had like a weird relationship. Like right before we started doing stuff for the album, I had like a feeling that the album was shitty and that it wasn't gonna do anything. Cause like I said, it'd been so long. But yeah, I had a lot of different influences then than I do now. Like is what I'm saying. But like obviously big ones are bands like Every Time I Die, The Chariot, Alexis on Fire, and Under Oath. Like a lot of like I wanted to channel a lot of the more melodic parts of like kind of some post-hardcore bands I love. If you listen to any of the parts that have like kind of stacked vocals, it's like definitely me trying to do like early like Some Fire when they would do like layered vocals over each other, just saying different things. Like
it did come out really well too. That like those parts really stick out. So you did a good job on those.
Def some hardcore too with Commit to the Bit. Tell them how you wrote Commit to the Bit.
So Commit to the Bit, I wrote because me and Dave used to live together. We still do, but it was a different house. And I was upstairs and Dave was downstairs. And Dave was watching Hate5six videos, and he was watching like Hate5six like live sets. And I remember I could hear it from upstairs. And I just remember hearing like a riff or something. And I was like, you know, that type of riff is cool. Like I should write a song with like a riff like that. It's just like kind of hype. And so that's literally Commit to the Bit. Like the first half of it was just like that intro riff, like whatever. That was literally me like ripping off some hardcore band that I'll never know because me and Dave don't know what band it was. And then obviously halfway through, it's just like a real big like, okay, this song's been pretty straightforward the whole time, but now we want to turn you on your head. So
you definitely committed to the bit there.
Yeah.
Cricket Slams wants to know if you'll play a show in his basement in Troy, Ohio.
Yeah, I don't know who Troy is, but he can talk to our manager directly at info@fallfiftyfeet.com.
I believe Troy's a city.
Okay, I don't know who Troy is, but whatever city he wants us to play is fine.
Oh, Troy, like the movie with Brad Pitt. Yeah, it's a good movie.
Exactly. You want you to come in a wooden horse, and they'll just open it up at the middle of the night, and y'all pop out, and y'all start playing a set.
That city is
on God.
That city's really old. I think that movie was actually fake. So I don't think that city exists anymore. If he wants us to play a current city, like, I don't know, Greece.
We'll play Rome. When in Rome.
Coward Device says that Fall 50 Feet force filmed me through a Jackbox party games. Through Jackbox party games?
That's accurate.
Force femmed.
Accurate.
Trying to see someone get their beer splashed on them in a Hate5six video during Commit to the Bit.
Viral videos, very topical.
Oh.
I watched that like 50 times.
Me too. It was funny.
So, how does your writing process work? It kind of seems like James, you write everything, or is that?
Yeah, I write like basically 90 to 100% of the music. Like I've never, like I said, I just grew up around no one who played music, so I've never really played music with other people or like wrote with other people, if that makes sense. It's always been a very personal thing when I write, and so I feel like that's why I kind of like gravitated towards playing complicated and non traditional song structures, because when I would just play by myself, I'd be like, okay, this is really fun to play. Stitch that together, this riff, this is really fun to play. It was like part after part. It would just be like riffs that I like thought were really fun to play and hear. So that's what my writing used to be. I definitely don't really write like that anymore, but Twister World Perspective was kind of like a little bit of the between point where I was like, I wanted to write not exactly catchier songs, but I didn't want to just riff soup it,
Mhm.
but I wasn't trying to make like regularly structured songs. So it was kind of like I wanted there to be themes throughout songs that like repeated and made familiar ideas like come through your head or whatever throughout the songs. But yeah, I write most of the music, and then it kind of goes to like me and Dave for like the lyrics. It really is like a crapshoot to like how we do it. Sometimes he'll come with like writing to a whole song and like write all his parts. He doesn't really usually write my parts, but then he'll give me his lyrics and I'll like write to that. Or sometimes there are a couple songs. I think on this album there's only one. No, there's two songs that I wrote all the lyrics to, except like a couple, and that's The Gloom and Anything That Can Go Wrong. Dave wrote like the ending of Anything That Can't Go Wrong, but that was like I don't really do that much anymore. But I just had like an idea for like lyrics and a song, which usually doesn't happen. It's usually just like song first and then lyrics. But yeah, and then I'm trying to get the process more involved, but like I said, I'm just really used to doing stuff by myself. So it's like I can't really like I can jam out with people, but it's not gonna be like it's not gonna sound like Fall 50 Feet like when I'm like just jamming with people. Like even False Accusations, I think I only ever had two songs that were me and our drummer jamming, like that figured out whatever. But yeah, so that's how it goes right now. I'd like to get to more of like not where like everyone is writing together, but like I write a song and maybe we all like edit it, or I'm writing it and they're like, like, oh, this would sound cool here or this or whatever, like more of a together thing. But it's just really hard to do that. Like we didn't even meet up weekly until pretty much a couple months ago. Like we've always been really bad about like having regular meetups and whatnot. We all work really hard to like make the band work, and so we're always working our jobs, and doing that sort of thing when we're not playing shows.
Okay. Um, Dave, how do you come up with your lyrics, man?
Man,
I know it's kind of a general question, but yeah.
General question. You've been demoted to Sergeant Question.
We liked How I Met Your Mother a lot when we were younger.
Dude, that was a sick show, man.
Yeah, it was. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of different things. Sometimes, there's just like a really sick line I'll come up with, like commit to the bit, for example. Like I wrote the line everyone loves, the fucking mosh call line. What's the line? But I won't lie, I only plan on living long enough to see you die.
Oh yeah, okay.
I wrote that in like late 2018, and I wrote that whole song around that idea. I mean, a lot of the songs on this album are like based on like I was doing a lot of LSD at the time, so they're primarily about really bad experiences I had. A lot of it's about anxiety. Some of it's about being jealous of other bands in the music scene because I'm a little bitch. Commit to the bit's kind of like it's kind of like a double meaning type thing where I'm talking about someone else, but I'm also talking about myself at the same time. So I don't know. It's kind of whatever I'm feeling at the time, which is usually existential crisis. Like I don't write positive songs. I'm really bad at that. I've tried it before. It's really bad. So I pretty much get.
Well, I don't think you really want a
negativity
positive
out.
song in like metal or whatever anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, I tried because like I really loved Stick to Your Guns when I was in high school, and they're a super positive band, and I always liked that. But yeah, like I don't know, it helps me like deal with the negative side of like my thoughts and shit because I'm a very anxious person, and yeah, I mean, it's literally like I'll be like, I feel like shit, I'm gonna write about it. That's pretty much how it goes.
Hell yeah, man. I mean, everybody needs a release, you know what I mean? And it just comes off more authentic, like, bringing your own personal issues into it, you know what I mean?
And all my lyrics are just really sad train of thought lyrics.
What do you mean by that?
Like, usually my shit is really stream of consciousness. Like,
Okay.
me and Dave's, like, if you really pay attention to me and Dave's parts and read our lyrics, like Dave's are a lot of times more like catchy and like, I don't know, just sound.
I like to rhyme.
He's like more of a rhymer, likes to write like, you know, very like small tight parts that like have a rhyme scheme. Yeah, Dave like listens to a lot of rap and like, you know, so he's very, very influenced in that way. But my lyrics are all like very wordy, very like don't rhyme a lot of times. They're just like, you know, it's almost like I'm just writing like paragraphs, you know, and sometimes I'll get like do some rhyme or alliteration or something, but a lot of times it's just going in it, just whatever I'm kind of thinking. And sometimes I'll edit it down from there. But
a lot of your stuff isn't even like written to the song. You like fit parts.
I usually
write to the song.
Dave usually writes to the song. I usually write and then I have like notes and I'll just fit to songs. Yeah, I can't think of like, and there were a couple songs I didn't write hardly anything on, but like usually I like pulling from like whatever notes I have, because it's like, even if it's not what the song is about, it's like I'm pulling something and it might have like multiple meanings. Like, you know, I mean, there were a few things that like funny enough. Okay. So like Parting Gift and loved our old drummer, Kyle, 156 songs. But like Parting Gift is about Kyle. He knows this. Like it was about when he left the band. And so like Dave wrote that in like just anger right after he left, and the only line in that song I wrote was the faking smiles silence for miles part that I sing and like the end. But those lyrics were just lyrics I happened to have written about Kyle while he was in the band, because I was like pissed off at him. So like it was just like it just fit. Like Dave sent me these lyrics or whatever, and he was like, "These are about Kyle." Like or whatever, and then like I'm like, oh, these work perfectly.
It's really funny because Kyle messaged me.
That's his favorite song on the album.
Yeah, he messaged both of us and was like, "What is Parting Gift about?" And I was like, "It's about you, buddy." And he was like, "Are you serious?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "That's so obvious, dude. Like, I thought you were gonna know like as soon as I showed it to you." Like, yeah, that's why it's called Parting Gift, because it was like, after he left the band, I wrote it as a parting gift to him.
Oh, okay. Huh, well, it's cool that you guys are like friends still with him, and you know, you aren't like hating each other.
They work together.
I literally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, he's the homie. Like, he's one of our best friends. Like, now that he left the band, our relationship's so much better.
Yeah, we just had
touring was really bad when we were all together. Like, we just didn't mesh. That's kind of like how it is.
Like high tensions and stuff.
And that's literally why we don't have like a full lineup right now. Like,
because nobody wants to get along with you guys.
We're literally unbearable people to be around. People do not like us, and it's very understandable.
We can barely handle each other sometimes, but yeah, I've known Jim so long that we're kind of used to it. And
me and Dave are like this. Like, we aren't really like similar people, but like we have like the same ideas a lot of times. Like we'll literally be thinking about the same things at the same time. It's really weird.
We'll like start singing the same song at the same time and shit.
I think me and Dave had a very like tangential, like parallel like upbringing, not upbringing, but like the things we got into. Like we aren't into all the same things, but we were into so many of the same things that like our brains kind of work the same way.
Have you ever wondered if y'all were like twins and y'all got separated at the hospital?
We're not that weird.
Yeah, it's not that weird.
Like, come on, man, it's not like that.
Like he said, we're super different people. Like our interests are completely different. Like he likes to go do things. I like staying home and doing nothing. But yeah, like when it comes to music,
I really like having sex.
Yeah,
and Dave hates sex.
I'm abstinent.
He's small penis. I have a big wiener. I'm at the big. He doesn't like sex because his penis gets crushed because it's so small. I have a big penis. No one worry about that. Women love me. Men want to be me. Men also want me.
like this.
But then, okay, so then me and Dave are like that. And then Zach is like kind of like a wild card, but he's totally different than us. But he's just kind of down for whatever. And he like is like totally involved and I don't know, invested in the band that he's like kind of like willing to ride out whatever crazy ideas we have and is there for it because he just cares about what we do.
Me and Jim are pretty much on the same page. Like he pretty much agrees with what I want to do, and I'm totally down with whatever he wants to do. Like I seldom have I said I don't like this song you wrote. Like I think that's happened one time. Like
and I still don't like him for it.
Yeah, like we still get in an argument about that certain song. But yeah, it's like I don't know, like we're just on the same page. Like what we thinking, I'll be like, we should do this. He's like, yep. And that was always like a big thing with our old drummer, like because we'd always be like, we should do this, and he'd be the only one opposing it. So yeah, that's why it's better. It works like this. Like Scoot.
Yeah, I'm a catalyst for chaos.
And also I'd say our senses of humor play a big role because we're all like goofy as fuck and say the dumbest shit all the time.
Nah, come on. You don't like that. What are you talking about?
I'm also the bird manager.
Said
The
Cloud
bird
Surf
manager.
Records, shut the fuck up.
Dude,
Yo, shout out Cloud
just
Surf
say it on
Records.
mine.
We're not on that label, but that's the homie.
Log in with
Motherfucker,
Facebook is going away.
motherfucker came from Tennessee to our first show.
That is true.
Also,
Damn.
Circuit. Shout out that band.
Shout out Circuit.
Shout out Maddie from the Callis Cowboys for also coming to our first show from Georgia.
Yes.
With my friend Dan.
So Zach, besides having like the sickest mustache in the world, what are you bringing to the band, man?
He also has a sick mullet.
I
That's it. Don't let him talk.
Oh
I
shit!
am the third strand in the braid that is fall 50 feet.
Okay.
That's so deep.
I basically just provide the low end, and I am the dad of the group. I'm the guy that mediates when things go wrong, and I'm the guy that jumps on problems and gives money.
It's like it's like when my last brain cell stops working, Zach's there to pick it up. Like I try to take on as much as I can because like this is my baby, and like I always take on a lot, maybe more than I mean we've leveled it out. Like FA was not leveled, and that's another reason we just had to start fresh to make it more level of like who does what and like the evenness of everyone taking it. But I still like to do a lot, but it's really like Zach is always there. Like if I like can't do something or I'm like I just don't have the capacity to fucking make this happen, Zach is always there to make sure like he can do whatever I am not willing to do.
My drive has always been in live music. Like I haven't even really come around to like production and studio jib jab, whatever you want to say, until coming into contact with these guys in 2017. Like I didn't really care for hyper production of music. Really, I was more into raw production and being able to replicate what you're doing in the studio live. But these guys really opened my mind to a lot of things, not just in music, but in life in general. And we've created a bond that I can't get away from.
Aww.
That's the nicest thing you've ever said.
Coward Device in the chat says Scoot is the most zen human on the planet.
I have
Definitely getting those vibes. The bird
One
loves you,
thing is,
man.
like, one thing is like, okay, so that's the thing. Me and Scoot, me and Dave, we will like not get along with people. We're very chaotic people in different ways. Like we're very like almost unlikable and very hateable. But like Scoot has always been the person like that, like no matter who's in the band, like he always gets along with everyone, even if they're like literally insufferable people. Like that fill-in drummer who did our album who fucked us over, him and Scoot were like he loved Scoot. He like fucking like they were like whatever. I mean, it was partly because like Scoot kept smoking him up with weed, but like
With weed.
with weed,
Yeah,
With the
involuntarily
marijuana.
toward the end.
but like he's just a very, very likable dude. And so he's like, I'm a lot, and Dave's like a lot in a totally different way. He's not like as Dave's not as hyper active and like outgoing as I am, but he is a dickhead. But we just kind of come to terms with that.
I mean, he's got a point. Yeah, I'm a very
He's a very blunt guy.
yeah, I'm a very truthful and honest person. I know there's this one band, I'm not gonna name them. I love them to death. They're good friends of ours, but one time they were playing a show and I walked up to them and bought a shirt and I was like, yeah, it's cool you guys are on tour. I just want to help out. And they were like, yeah, thanks. Like, what'd you think of the set? I was like, oh, you guys were pretty trash, but like, I just wanted to support you guys. And they got so mad.
Jesus.
But like, I just like being honest. Like, I'm not going to tell you I like your band if I don't fuck with it. Like, liking someone's music and liking them as a person is totally different. Like, I got friends who don't listen to us. Like, I don't care.
Yeah. Well, I mean, going up to a band and saying that you suck, it's like.
I care.
I mean, it's all about networking, but I like honesty.
Okay. Cloudsurf Records in chat says shotgun that PBR, Bubby. And Cricket Sam says
Miller
I'll
High
shotgun
Life.
a brew if you do.
A Peeber. This is a Miller High Life. It's a champagne of beers, buddy.
Jake,
Come on,
you ever
Cloudsurf. What's
thought
going on?
about
Back
shutting
in.
your mouth? How about that?
All right, let's all say the best quote from Anchorman.
Okay.
Okay, you go.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Where'd you get your suit? The toilet store?
Okay, the best one is from the deleted, like not the deleted scenes, but like the extended version when he's like, don't you know I would never say that? I would never fucking say fuck. I would never fucking say fuck on live TV.
I think mine is
Dorothy Mantooth is a saint.
Brick. Where did you get a hand grenade? I don't know.
What is it?
Ferrell,
75% of the time, it works every time.
Sex Panther.
Wow.
Oh, that's fire.
It smells like pure gas.
Okay, start rattling them off, buddy. Let's go.
Oh my god.
We're buttered up.
So how do you guys work out the drums?
Okay.
He programs them.
Oh, really? Like you program every hit?
Next.
So okay, so I will say, yeah. So I mean, yeah, I didn't play drums originally, but I just kind of got better at programming drums over time. And funny enough, Kyle was like the only drummer I really played with like pretty much my whole life, other than a few fill-ins after Kyle left. So like the way I like kind of think of drums and program them are a lot like his playing style, or like with some of my own tastes. But like, yeah, so I always like program out the drums, and the drums on the album are pretty much hit for hit what I programmed. But the reason it works a step up even better from what I wrote is because the biggest thing that Greg did was on our album, like, so like Jay Dino, who like did the drums on the album, he pretty much played just what I wrote, like note for note. But Greg wanted the album to sound a little bit more organic, and like, I don't know, the drummer felt really comfortable playing like these songs and like whatnot. So what basically we would get the takes of just like him playing the song straight, like how they are. And then we would do a take of the song with him just throwing in fills everywhere. Even if they didn't work, he'd just be like, fill out the whole fucking like song with fills like everywhere, or like whatever. And then he basically cut it up and just put in fills like in random spots, like where they sounded really good. And even if like initially when he did them, they were like totally batshit. So like when we got the first mix back, I was like, holy shit, these songs like sound even better. Cause like there were so many parts where there was like not really any fills, or was like something really basic. And he made it sound totally organic by like stitching in these fills that had been like, you know, just thrown in there at the last minute, you know, and made it sound like the drummer was really comfortable playing these songs.
That's
which,
sick.
like,
I never thought about doing anything like that before. It's because I do like audio shit too, and like that's really interesting.
well, because like, I mean, Jay's a great drummer, but like he had like a couple months to learn the songs. I don't think he had ever actually sat down to a kit and played them when he did the album. So like he had maybe sat down and played like the songs like a couple times or something. But so he was literally like doing this really hard, like, you know, weird music, and had the songs down pretty well. But like, unless you're literally counting like the whole thing, like there's so many odd time parts where it's really hard to throw in a fill that's like going to be natural. You'd have to like think about it and write out a fill or something for a lot of those parts. But like we would just get the whole song and then just do like go crazy. It doesn't matter if you hit like into the next section. We already have everything we need. So just be like, fill out this fucking part, whatnot. Like, I don't know. And he just stitched it all together and it sounds natural as fuck. And like, just made the album, like that's honestly one of the best things he did that made the album go to next level for me.
Well, that's sick, man. Well, let's talk a little bit about recording process. It was engineered and mixed by Greg Thomas and Chris Tetty at Silver Bullet Studios, and he got it mastered by Chris Crummett at Interlace Audio. He actually did the last band we interviewed, Pac-Man the Movie. They did their last thing too. But
the movie is the shit.
Dude, fuck yeah, man. They're great. They're great. But yeah, tell us about a little bit about like working with these guys. You just did with the drums, but a little more past that.
I mean, so Greg was the first producer I ever worked with that like I felt like really cared. We had worked with a few before, and like we were really young when we were working with them and didn't exactly know what we were doing. So like there were a few problems, but like
wait, so y'all worked with him with FA too, or?
No, well, we were FA when we started working with
him.
But I'm saying like FA, our first few releases were like self-recorded, and then our last like two were like we did an EP with one person and an EP and 2 singles with another. Mm-hmm. And like not to like completely shit on those people, but like they don't hold a candle to what Greg does, like and how much Greg cares about the music. Those people were like definitely like doing it for like a paycheck or whatnot, like, and it's like, part of it was our fault. Like, we didn't know that, like, if you don't pay a certain amount or whatnot, you're only going to get so much done, I guess. Like, we'd be like, they'd be like, what's your budget? And I'd be like, okay, this much. And they'd be like, okay, I'm going to work with you. But they'd really like, they work with us on that budget, but they put in less work than would with a higher budget, something like whatever. And Greg doesn't really work with that like that. Like he puts in the same amount of care to every single thing he does, no matter what your budget is. And like, so when we went in and he was like, after that kid left who was doing the drums, we had 7 songs done. I was like, I thought we were just going to call it quits and basically make an EP. And I like said I was willing to do that, and Greg was like, "No, we're not doing that. Like, we're not gonna do that."
Dude, that's awesome.
I know for a fact that the 2 people we went to before that would have been like, "Yeah, you're fucked. Like, go to hell." Like it would not have been. Greg was like, "We're gonna make this happen. I'll get someone in here to do drums." Like, he pretty much edited all the drums to the album twice because he edited all those kids' drums originally, and like. Those kids' drums were atrocious. Like that parts were like completely stitched together. Like we had to play parts slower and basically edit them to like act like they were like played faster and whatnot. And like there's just a lot of shit. And so he did all that, and then we ended up re-recording it. So he had to do the whole album again. And yeah, the weird thing was though, okay, so this is the weird thing is that we didn't record like 75, I'd say even actually 80% of the vocals were I basically recorded them. Because what happened was after that kid screwed us over, we had 10 days scheduled for our original recording time. He took up 4 of those days. We didn't get to vocals until like the 5th or the 6th day. And at that point, Greg was like, we don't have time to do vocals. If you guys want to get the vocals done, we're going to have to do them after the sessions are over. And I'm basically, because I record and whatnot, he was like, I'm basically going to set a mic up for you, and then you guys can record them yourselves after the session. Because his studio's out in Connecticut. We were staying there. Like, it's like 10 hours away. So after all the sessions were over, we would do like 2 or 3 hours of vocals a night after 8 hours a day of recording.
Okay.
And so that's why that and the fact that I was by Greg the whole time we recorded and like telling him what was going on, like I didn't have any break. So I basically produced the album with him. And
Okay,
so,
I was
yeah,
wondering why you got a little bit of credit in that spot. Okay.
Yeah, well, because the drummers didn't really know what they were doing, and I had to like even like so I didn't really explain this, but like Scoot at the time, he was going through a lot right before we recorded the album, and he had learned the songs on bass, but like we never played these songs together before the album was recorded because, like I said, our drummer left. We had never played in a room playing these songs together. You know, when you play with someone in a room and you're like able to be like, hey, dude, you're playing that part wrong, or that sounds weird. So like I had to be with him the whole time he was recording bass. For Greg might hear something and be like, that sounds a little bit weird. What do you play there? And I'd be like, oh, this is what I play. And he's like, okay, his bass part doesn't work. We're gonna have to change that to something else. What would we like to do here instead? So I didn't have a day off the whole time we recorded. They watched him and the rest of our band watch like how many movies while we recorded. I didn't watch one single movie while we recorded.
I have a list of every movie we watched.
Bring it up now.
Greg has a big collection of movies in his studio, and it's awesome. And they started watching movies with
I got you. We watched all 3 extended versions of the Lord of the Rings movies.
Jesus Christ. That's like 5 days, isn't it?
It's like a whole day. We watched all 8 Harry Potter movies.
Holy shit.
We're at 11.
We watched Rambo 1 through 4. We watched 15. Matrix 1 through 3. The original 15. Spider-Man trilogy. Freddy vs. Jason. Observe and Report. The Dirt. Employee of the Month, and 2 John Mulaney stand-up specials.
Good freaking Lord, man. That's so much stuff.
They watched 27 movies. I did not get to watch one movie while we was there because I was in the control room the whole time with Greg. But,
yeah. That's crazy.
My brain was fried after the original 10 days, but we went back in 2 separate times after that. Dave did record like I think 2 or 1.5 songs with Greg. Like,
yeah, I was on vacation with my girlfriend, and we literally stopped there on the way back home just so I could record like a song with him.
Alrighty, that's crazy, man. Greg sounds like an awesome guy, though. Like, shit,
he's the best.
That is really cool, man. That he's more concentrated on like the quality and stuff, and not giving up on you guys. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
more people like that.
Would have been really easy to. I would have given up on me as a producer.
Me too.
So you guys got a bunch of guests on here. Violin on Cell Damage performed by Amber from Cal Style Boys. Trumpet performed by Chris Teddy, who was one of the engineers, I guess, on this, right?
Chris Teddy he has like a studio upstairs in Greg's house, but it's both Silver Bullet, and he's also in The World's a Beautiful Place and I'm No Longer Afraid to Die.
That's a long band name.
Yeah, they're like emo legends.
But
really? I need to check it out.
You listened to
it was sick.
It was way different. It was like, it was kind of proggy, kind of heavy.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
You also got additional vocals on Cell Damage performed by Rob Accardi from Dr. Acula. That's fucking sick.
That's true, like bro. One of my most influential vocalists of all time.
Damn,
so
dude.
Like
I love that band.
We literally Dr. Acula, that was the band we bonded over, but the version we bonded over initially when we were younger was like later Dr. Acula, which he wasn't in. But then
I have been listening to them since like 7th grade, so
Jesus
I already know
Christ.
that stuff.
But so I got into the old stuff like, a few years ago and was like really into it. And so we ended up like, I don't know how it even came up, but I was like, oh, it came up because they were doing a reunion and I like followed them and I started like messaging the band and annoying them. And eventually I was like, I kind of want to just like see if he'll do a feature. And so we did ask him to do a feature and he said he'd be down to do it, but he didn't have any like recording equipment of his own. And I was like, bro, I'll pay.
And this was during COVID. So,
well, it was before COVID. And so he'd be like, I'm down, but I don't have like a place to record. And then he was like, we'll figure it out eventually. And we never figured it out. Then COVID happened. And I was like, there's no way this is ever going to happen. And I was like, I kept hitting him up and be like, hey, do you like think you could do this? Like what, or whatever. And he was like, And I remember literally one day he was like, yeah, dude, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. I'm sorry. And I was like, fuck. And then he literally messaged me like 2 minutes later and was like, actually, never mind. I'm gonna do it. Like, we can do it.
It was like, I'm gonna do it tonight.
And so he goes and records the vocals. And I think I was busy. I was doing stuff when he sent him back. And Dave put him on like the demo track. And like when that part hits in,
I cried.
Even now, when that part hits in, it literally makes me feel for the first second when his like vocals hit in during like the breakdown part, I feel like I'm listening to a Dr. Acula song, and it makes my brain feel really good. And yeah,
dude, that's awesome. That y'all got one of like your biggest influences as a kid on there. That's so fucking
I
sick.
especially love it because a lot of people fucking don't like Dr. Acula, but like that song, Cell Damage is
proud
sick, so,
Dr.
like,
Acula fan.
and we are proud.
I
stopped for
every
all
era
barbecue
of them.
pits, fireworks stands, and Dr. Acula shows.
Never seen them.
Dude, that's fucking sick.
We're getting there.
You also had additional vocals on Objects in a Mirror, Closer Than They Appear, performed by Brett Mills of Greyhaven. I haven't listened to them yet, but this is like the 5th time they've come up in like one of these interviews.
Greyhaven is literally one of the best bands out right now.
God damn, dude. You know what?
He's got an amazing voice. He doesn't sing on that song. He just does like screaming in that one part. He's one of the best singers I've ever heard.
He does sing on it. That's the thing, though. His voice is like,
yeah,
he has such a unique like style that even in this, so both of the features we wrote, like Dave already had written, and so we just gave the like parts to him. We're like, do it how like you want it. And so when Brent sent it back, like even though it was just a full on screaming part over a really dissonant part,
he sings.
You can really tell that it's him because he's like screaming it, but he goes into like a sung note at like some point, like he falls into like a sung part of it, even though it's like not a part that you would think to do that. Like he's got a really unique like voice, and like he's super good at what he does. And I'm glad he was able to like bring what he does in Greyhaven to our track, like, and not just like sound like Dave or something. Like I don't want a feature that like sounds like us. I want someone who like doesn't do what we do at all, or else there's no point in getting someone. Also, we didn't pay either of them. They did it out of the kindness of their heart. Like we don't want to have people on our albums that like are like just people who want money. I mean, there are a few people that we'd pay to like be on our albums.
I would have paid Rob.
I would have paid either of them, but they didn't ask because they're really sweet people and they were doing it because they wanted to.
I mean, yeah, Brent's like an actual friend of ours. Like we booked them he booked them a long time ago. Like, so we've known them a long time, but we don't know Rob. Like we're just big fans.
Sorry.
We know Rob now.
Yeah, we know Rob now. Dr. Eckler, the homies.
I just had a couple bots in during the chat. Sorry, I was taking care of that.
Bots.
Shout out bots. We love bots.
So you have your artwork done by Anthony Grasso. Is that how you pronounce it? Grasso? Something like that?
Yeah.
We got it up on the screen now. I've been meaning, like, what the hell is this? Like, just describe this for me.
So it's actually, okay, so this is actually, I had a near-death experience. And this is what I saw right before I almost died. It was like, two very small spiders just taunting me. And so that's what I saw right before I died when I was, in the Bahamas. So that's what that is. You can take it off now. You're going to talk about it anymore.
It's a wolf.
It's a wolf being.
There are two wolves inside of you. One of them is your boyfriend. One of them is your other boyfriend.
It's like a goat with like a wolf in its. I don't know. See, I'm really bad at art direction.
A wolf in sheep's clothing. I like that. That is kind of what it looks like, right?
I literally messaged him and I was like,
a wolf wearing.
I want it to be weird. I was like, I want it to be weird and like odd as fuck. Like it's twisted world perspective. I want it to be like a creature that's not like otherworldly.
So, okay, what I remember about it is, so like I said, this album was really old. We've had the name since before we recorded the album. So we hit Anthony up initially because he did art for us before, and we were like, hey, we want art for our album. He sent us some stuff, and like I'm not super picky. Dave is more of like the art direction guy, but he was like, I'm not really feeling what Anthony's doing. So all that stuff happened with us. So we just kind of put the art on the back burner for a while. And then Dave was like, found some stuff that he really liked, but all those people who he liked were very booked up or very expensive. And so we were like, okay, let's just go to Anthony again, but with this, because Dave was doing this weird thing where he was like, I know what I want, and it's not that. And we were like, so what do you want? And he'd be like, I don't know. And so it'd be
It's hard to explain.
he just couldn't come up with it. So he found this art, which was kind of like the general idea was like, we wanted it to be dark and kind of like dark in nature, but not dark in like, we wanted it to still be colorful and vibrant. We wanted to be like weird and demented and kind of like take you to a kind of, I don't know, some sort of
A
like
bad acid trip.
yeah, like because I mean a lot of Dave's lyrics on this are kind of like like they kind of come from like his like very bad experiences with the drug known as LSD.
Okay.
So
That's a trippy as fuck like album cover, man.
Well, we ended up coming to him with those things that I told you, like Dave found, and then he sketched that out, and he had just a rough sketch of it, and we like knew as soon as we saw it, we were like, "That's fucking it, bro." All he needed was some direction. He's an amazing artist.
And I was like, I don't want our name on the cover. I want it to speak for itself. So that's why our name's not on the cover. I've always been a fan.
Our name is on the cover if you look really hard, though.
I've always been a fan of album covers.
Is it really on there or no?
No, it is.
Okay. Gotcha.
I uploaded it to DistroKid. I would know. It's on there.
So if you didn't want the name on there, why is the album name on there?
Because the album name is more important than our name.
That was more like Anthony's idea, but I also feel like that's like also very recognizable. Like if you search the words Twisted World Perspective, we come up. So like when I like do things like that, I make sure that nothing else is named that. Like if something else was named that, I wouldn't have named the album that.
Okay.
So I want our album to be just as recognizable as our name.
Okay.
Even though Twisted World Perspective is a quote from Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
He says, you got a sick and twisted world perspective. And I was in the kitchen with Jim once, and I was like, I've quoted that, and I was like, dude, that'd be such a sick fucking album name, especially with the content. And I was like, yeah, let's roll with that. It's a sick fucking name.
It is. It's a good name.
And it's literally like describes my view of the world. So
Dave's having a very Joker pilled moment.
yeah, I'm Jonker pilled. We call the Joker Jonker.
We call the Joker.
There's a picture of me sucking the Joker's dick in Greg's studio because he has a full-size replica of Jack Nicholson Joker. And yeah, it's like a microphone, but I pretend it's his dick, and it's me like. And he probably has the picture somewhere. It's good.
Jesus Christ. So, what's the best show you guys have played? Obviously, back in FA, because you haven't been. Well, oh my God, this is for real. What? I thought that you were joking. Jesus Christ.
We were not jonking.
What the fuck? That's crazy.
There's way worse pictures we've taken. I'll tell you that much. Am I right, fellas?
Okay.
The best show we've ever played.
Yeah.
Well, as this band, we've only played one show, and it was really sick. And it honestly might have been the best show we've ever played. Other than the last False Accusations show was really good.
Okay, so I'd say there's a couple contenders for best.
The Enter Shikari show was really
We
dope.
played with Enter Shikari once, and that was the most people we've ever played to. It was like 500.
And that was on like my
Jeez.
21st birthday. It was incredible.
And so that was cool because it was like we were playing a real venue. We were opening for this tour, and like people dug us, and it was cool. And then I think, other than that, like the coolest small shows we ever played were all in North Carolina. Most of them were at Greenville, in Greenville, North Carolina. These like sweaty kids loved us. Like every time we played there were a bunch of, it was like 100 degrees, but there were just like a handful of people who really liked us, and they would always like just throw down, and like, I don't know, it was cool.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Smaller shows can be the best ones, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. It was just a lot of times we were playing shows that no one cared for us at. So like, I don't know. But so then after that, I'd say the other best ones were in Vermont. The last show we ever played on tour
That was sick.
was it was like Crafter, us, Voices in Vain, and
Lost Bearer.
Lost Bear, I think were their name. And it was just like it was a local show
They
only,
sold me weed.
pretty much, like, you know, all smaller bands, but there were like a couple hundred people there, and it was like the biggest show we played since Enter Shikari, and it was a cool show. And then our last show as False Accusations was cool because like all our friends were there. It was at the venue we used to own, so it was just like very important.
Y'all
very
own a
special.
venue or owned a venue, I guess. That's fucking sick.
Yeah, before
We co-ran it with our friends. Yeah.
That's sick. So
But
what?
yeah, honestly, our like release show for Twisted World Perspective is probably like top one, just because like these songs, like I said, have had so much time to marinate in the soul, and my feelings about them have changed a lot. And we finally got to play them, and like some people knew the words, and for our
That's
first
sick.
kind of weird, like
Especially considering the album came out like
A
less
week
than
before.
2 weeks before that.
Yeah,
Dude,
so
that's sick.
So that just kind of like meant a lot. And friends came out from a long way. A few did. And like, I don't know. It was the first show back. Also, like,
It's also like a new era for the band or whatever, right?
yeah, well, so I've always thrown shows around the area, and like a good show around here would be like 30 or 40 people. That's like a pretty good show. Like it's a small town area. Like we don't have a big scene or anything. And there were like 80 or so people at our release show, and it was just there was a feeling of camaraderie that was around it that like hadn't been there before, because like all the bands who were there knew how special it was now that live music is back. So it was just like it was very special, and we got to see a lot of people we hadn't seen in a year and a half. So I'd say that one probably tops them all. The one Fall 50 Feet show we played.
That's sick, man.
Worst show, we have a bunch of worse shows still.
Oh, I was just about to say, what's the worst show?
I know the worst show.
I get a P. He can tell you the worst show
It was
story.
We played with the Fine Constant and Drusif Stalin.
Oh my god.
In Connellsville, PA, at this old like it was called the Cinema.
Save Us from the Archon was supposed to be on.
Yeah, Save Us from the Archon was supposed to be there. And but they dropped. I think they broke up right around that time, right? Something like that. But this was like terrible. We opened the show. I like slipped up and I used to smoke a lot of weed, and I forgot the words to one of the songs. And Kyle was pissed at me, and we like literally got into a fucking fight on stage. And yeah, it was just terrible. Like it was a bad show.
I remember vividly that. Okay, so we played that. That wasn't even going to be in my contenders,
We were
but it
supposed
was
to play a second show that day.
was
that
a
we had to drop.
was a very mad moment. So we that happened, and Kyle was just all pissed off. And I remember at the end of the set, he was all pissed off. And this venue was really weird. It was like I think it was like an old theater, and so the stage was like literally like about as tall as like me, like maybe taller actually.
Yeah.
Like I remember
It was
to
like
get
6 feet.
to get our equipment on there, you couldn't just like step up onto the stage. There was no stairs. You had to like stand on like some sort of stool and lift your equipment onto
What the
it.
fuck?
And so I remember very vividly, Kyle was really pissed off after the set, and like was like yelling at us and was like whatever. And I think he was pissed off because I like hit his drums or something, but I had paid for his drums. Like I had bought them. And so I was pissed off that he was pissed off at me for hitting the drums that I bought. And so I remember chucking the floor tom or the kick drum off stage when instead of handing it to him, I just threw it like 8 feet onto the fucking ground. Like
Jesus
And
Christ.
it's still broken to this day.
Why can't we find a drummer?
Anyway, what's your worst show?
My worst show with us?
Because I feel like, okay, the thing is, we all have bad shows, like where the shows itself are bad, but
You have
everyone has
like
bad-
individual have your worst show.
in your head, like you could have a really bad show, but everyone else in your band is having a good show. If
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I've had
100%.
times where, like, I was like, I sounded like shit all fuck. Like, I was like, I'll get off stage and be so mad that I sounded bad, and then people will come up to me and be like, "You sounded amazing," and I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Scoot, worst show?
Oh man. There was where were we? It wasn't the worst show. It's a memorable show for me because we were playing to the bartender. I can't remember where we were, but we were with Dineside, and I loved the whole tour.
That
So
tour
I
was
wasn't
incredible.
upset, but I was upset that we were just playing to the bartender. But I have no clue where we were.
Was
Like,
it Daytona?
No, I think it was in like New Jersey, maybe,
No, we played the Meat Locker on that tour, and that was okay. We played. I feel like
the
it
one
was-
where I threw up.
That was on our last tour.
I threw up on stage and
We
took,
left it there.
took my clothes off to like cover up the barf,
and
then
I was
had to
mad
play
at
in
him
my
for doing
underwear.
that. So like,
The Meat Locker is
it's
a pretty
terrible.
gross fucking
deserved
place.
it.
So, like, every time you've ever played the Meat Locker in New Jersey, which is like known to be like kind of a dingy DIY, like crusty venue, and like it's cool in theory, but like basically every time we played there, something really shitty or dumb has happened. Like one time we played there and they didn't tell the promoter that we like had to make a certain amount of money to get paid, so we didn't get paid anything. Then the second time we played there, the sound guy was mad. Like there was no sound guy at the sound thing, and he was running door. And I was like, "Hey, is there anyone to do sound?" And he was like, "I'm the sound guy." And I was like, "Well, you're up here doing door." And so I ran sound all night, and he came down during our set when the other touring band was running the sound for us, and was mad at him because he touched a soundboard that he refused to set up because he was watching door. And the last time we played there, they asked our photographer to pay money to get into the show, and he was like, "No, I'm on tour with the band." And they were like, "Well, could you just give us like $5 instead of 10? Like you give us something, right?" And we're like,
That's ridiculous.
"No." And yes, that's a show Scoop puked during, and we just left it. Honestly, we didn't clean it up
Legendary,
at all. We're
really.
not. We wouldn't do that in any other venue.
I left my favorite shirt behind.
That fucking sucks.
But
Yeah.
I feel like that was Daytona that you're talking about, because Daytona was when we had a really good day, and we
The
like
barcade.
we walked around, but there was like no one at that show. Emily Janicki came with a couple of her boyfriend, but like,
No, it wasn't that one. It was
oh, was it
I think we were
in PA?
in northeast. It may have been. It may
Because
have been.
That was the first show of the tour, was PA, and the venue got switched, I think, and we had to hop on another show.
Oh,
That sounds. Oh, you know what? The Virginia Beach show. That's my.
Oh,
That's my
oh my
worst
god,
show.
that's such a good story. Now that that's what it was.
Yeah, that's my
Okay.
least
that's a
favorite show.
great show.
So we're on tour with this band Dineside. This is the third date. So first night we played PA, which was kind of a dud. Second night we played that New Jersey Meat Locker show, which was actually a decent show at that time, but that was when we got yelled at by the sound guy. And then we played. Did we play Boon Tunes and Meat Locker on that tour? Because I remember.
No, Boontoons
No,
is where
actually,
we
no.
met
This was a different
Dineside.
tour. We met Dineside at this venue called Boontoons in Boonton, New Jersey. And at the end of the show, I gently tossed my guitar on stage, and
Snap.
it's broke right in half. And like I have a telly and it's a bolt-on neck, so like it came apart pretty clean, like it didn't actually break. And so I was like, okay, we gotta get this fixed. And our next show was in Virginia Beach, and so it's pretty far away. It was like 6 or 7 hours. And so I drove overnight, did the whole drive by myself, because I was like, I got to get at a music store right when they open so I can see if they can fix my guitar.
Oh my god,
And so we go to this music store,
the worst day ever.
and they're like, yeah, like we'll do this. We have like, they didn't have like a house guy who fixed the guitars. They had like this guy who would come in and take the guitars somewhere else and fix them and then come back. And
Okay.
so they were like, yeah, we can fix it and like whatnot. And I was like, okay, cool. And we were like hanging around the music store, and they were just like dicks. Like I was like, I want to play some guitars, and so like it was one of those places that they were like, don't touch the guitar.
Yeah, Jared Dines as a Guitar Center employee. That's
they were
who
like,
it was.
it was like, don't touch the guitars. Do you want to play this one? And like, okay, so this is literally what happened. I was like, okay, like, and he was like, if you want a guitar, like, tell me, I'll get it down for you and set it up for you, and then we'll let you play it. And I was like, okay, what about this one? And he's like, okay, and he sets it all up, and I like play it. I'm playing it for like 30 seconds maybe, and he's like, okay, well, you're not gonna buy that, so let me take that. And I'm like, well, I bought plenty of guitars on tour. Anyway, in the meantime, we went around town, went to a Guitar Center, went to another music store that actually had a bunch of really cool employees in it. I wish I remembered the name of it.
Wasn't it Sam Ash?
No, it was a local place. And so we went to this other local place, and the people in there were way cooler than the place we originally went to. And when they finally got my guitar back to me at like 4 or 5 o'clock, a few hours before the show started, it was like not set up at all, because they were like, yeah, you fucked it up too bad. We can't like set it up without breaking the neck or something, which I knew wasn't true.
Yeah, what?
Like, it was very weird. And so they like put it back together. They like did a little bit of glue and like got the bolts back in, but they didn't like set it up at all. So the strings were like really far away. So I took it to this other music store that we'd been hanging out at all day, where the people were cool. And like the dude set it up for free for me, because I was like, yeah, they fucked me over. And he was like, super cool. It was super chill. So we're like, yes, I got my guitar back in the nick of time. We're going to play this show. We're going to destroy. And then the venue dropped for the show and it got canceled. And then the promoter for the show was like, okay, well, one of my other bands is going to play this bar, and you can come play this bar with us or whatever. And we're like, okay. So we go and play the show, and no one's there. Like, it was just a terrible day. Like, there's like his band plays, the PA is like non-existent. There's like pretty much no PA.
We were dead tired.
There was no one there. We got paid like $40 out of the promoter's pocket, but like,
oh, hey, at least you get $40. There you go.
Like,
not great, but
normally I'd be like, okay, like promoter like paid us some money out of his own pocket. I'm really grateful. But the dude was like, totally had plenty of time to set a show up at a decent place. And I had actually booked his band. Like, we were supposed to do a show swap, and the dude's band didn't show up for the show that I booked for them. And then was like, oh yeah, we dropped that. And I was like, well, you never told me you dropped. Like, I went out of my way to throw this show for you, and you guys just didn't show up. And he was like, I'll make it up to you. I'll throw you the show. And then that happened. So after that whole day, we were really pissed off. Luckily, we ended up getting a very nice hotel, because Scoot, like his like wife's mom or something, stepmom or something, had like a Hilton hookup.
It's her. She's an
Nice.
HR for Hilton.
And so we used her thing, and it was like in the winter, so it wasn't like the beach was nice, but we were in Virginia Beach, and they upgraded us to like a suite at the top of the
floor
top
on the
floor,
beach.
on the beach. I mean, it was like the winter, so it was like whatever, but you could still see the
Two
beach.
balconies.
There was 2 different balconies. There was like multiple. It was like
There's
very
like couches
nice.
and fucking.
And we were like,
Goddamn.
we deserve this after this.
I remember there was like one guy there, and he was like, "You guys were pretty sick." I was like, "Yeah, for sure." And he was like, "You guys want me to buy? You want me to buy you a drink?" He was talking to us, and I was like, "Well, he doesn't drink, and I'm not really trying to drink." And I was like, "If you can get us weed, that'd be sick." And he was like, "Yeah, for sure." And he left. Didn't see him for like 2 hours. And I was like, that guy's not coming back. He shows up when we're loading out and gives us like 2 grams of weed. He's like,
Hey.
I got you weed, bro. And we were like, fuck yeah, dude.
Dude, alrighty.
I got one more bad show story. The one that comes to my mind is we played Savannah, Georgia. Both times we played Savannah, Georgia has been questionable, but the first time was especially bad. So we're on tour. I had set up the show with this dude, and it was at this like, it was literally like an art supply store, but like the back of it like had like a small stage where like looks like they could put on like small plays or something. And We show up and I'm like, okay, this is cool. I love weird DIY spaces. Like, that's sick. But what happened is like there was pretty much no PA. And like the dude was like, there was supposed to be a PA here, but there isn't. So he brings like a tiny PA and one microphone that like was duct taped together and barely worked. At this point, me and Dave were like the main vocalists, but Scoot did some vocals. But if we had to rock with just 2 mics, we could do it. They had 1 mic and it barely worked. And so we played with, I think like Dave was the only one who had vocals. If I did, it didn't really work. And Dave's mic didn't even really work either. So like we were pretty much playing an instrumental set. And
I remember I threw the mic down and just started jumping around halfway through the set.
And there were like, I think like maybe there were a couple girlfriends there of like a couple like members of the other band. There were like maybe 4 or 5 people there total, like, and I remember the room was like this weird kind of room, and there were a couple chairs set up on the side, and like literally there was a promoter, I think, standing, and then all these other people were just sitting on the side, like not really caring. We were just like there, and I was like,
that was an awful show.
That was literally like, there's just no point. Like, I don't mind a small show. Like
did they come to see you, the ones that were sitting down, or were they doing something else?
They were just there. I think they were just there, like, because they had to be. That's when it's like, I feel like I could stop mid-song and just be like, this, there's no point. Like I'll play my heart out for one person who actually wants to hear us, but like, I could actually feel that no one gave a fuck of a shit. Like, so it was just like, felt like the most pointless thing ever.
Then there was a
I feel
sketchy
like we
dude.
cut our set short.
Yeah, we did. There was a sketchy dude hovering around our gear as we were loading out, and I had to like, watch him, and like, I was like, oh my god, dude, I cannot have this guy run down the sidewalk with our fucking everything we had. We were all poor at the time.
That guy that wasn't even at the show in Detroit started helping us load out. I was like, this is sketchy.
Yeah, it was pretty sketchy.
That is weird, man.
Got some sketchy stuff happened to us, but we've never had like, we never gotten our gear stolen or anything.
Oh, that's good.
Knock on wood.
Oh my god.
One time Scoot drank piss on tour.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Wait, what?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
We were driving down the fucking road, and Scoot and our photographer at the time were just sleeping in the back.
I was in the back too.
Yeah, I was.
It was nighttime, by the way.
Was Bobby with us? I think Bobby was driving, and I was up front with him. And Kyle was like chilling in the middle row, and we're just driving along, listening to fucking whatever. And then we just hear Scoot go, "I drank piss!" And he opens the back door while we're on the highway and starts puking.
I had water bottles everywhere.
Yeah.
So I just picked up the one that I thought I was drinking.
It was a piss bottle.
And it was a
We
piss
had
bottle.
peed in the bottle. And so he drank. He was like, "I drank piss," and was out the back door, puking, spitting up, and we were like,
"This is hilarious."
And honestly, it was really funny, but Stu was not having a good time at that time.
I mean, it was salty. It wasn't that bad.
Oh my god,
it was salty. Is that what piss tastes like?
Bear Grylls would have done it with no fucking caveats.
It was just the shock of
It's
drinking
sterile.
my buddy's piss.
Might have been multiple buddies for all we
It
know.
may have been.
We share bottles.
Bear Grylls just be like, that's some good piss right there. So you already talked about like the art place. That's probably the weirdest one. But are there any other really weird like areas y'all played?
We play. It's not really a weird.
Oh, I got a good one.
I was gonna say we played this North Carolina. You remember the CBD story? We played this North Carolina show in like a abandoned, like
A
it wasn't
dilapidated
yeah, it was
house.
like a barn where the floor was like caving in.
It was just like a small, like they had a main house.
It was in
and
like
then
the
they had-
middle of nowhere.
In their yard, they had like another like very like small like I don't know like a small like single room home, but like they had been. It's where like the band practiced, and like
It was actually a pretty decent show.
The floor caved in on the one side, so they took the floor out, and so it was just dirt, and then the floor on the other side. So it was kind of like a stage, It was a cool place, but it was really weird. And then they had a weird thing happen to them afterward.
I'm not gonna get into it, but it's a fucking hilarious story.
Yeah, it is a pretty funny story.
It's one of my favorite tour stories.
So
it's a long one.
That was weird. We played a North Carolina show in a bike shop, like a bicycle shop. There were hanging up on the side. At one point, someone like was moshing, and they like took one of the bikes fell off like the wall.
The opening artist was like a dubstep guy.
Oh, that was terrible.
That was.
We covered Floater at that show, and it was sick.
Yeah, we used to cover Floater by Every Time I Die.
But the one that comes to my mind of the weirdest place we played, and it wasn't even like too weird because we played a few shows at what am I looking for? Storage space type places. Have you ever people will like rent a storage space and then like have a show out of that. But like what I've learned is there's a bunch of different types of storage spaces. Like some of them might just have a couple outlets. Some of them are very like it'll open like your garage door and there'll be like a vast inside more than you like think for a normal storage space. But this one really resonates with me. It was actually where we met Anthony Grasso. It was
those people lived in that storage space,
and they lived in the storage space, and it was really elaborate and cool looking.
It was dope.
But so on our way there, like we could not fucking find it. We couldn't find the venue and whatnot, and so we were in Fort Lauderdale area, Florida, and we'd never been there before. Had never been to this venue, and it just had this address that wasn't really, you plug in an address to Google Maps sometimes and it just like doesn't really work. Like you're like, oh, I'm at the place, and then we hit up the promoter and they're like, yeah, you're not here. I'm like, okay. So I'm driving around. We have a van and a trailer, and I remember I turn a corner and like, I turn a corner. I'm in this community, and there is like some sort of like post-wedding like ceremony going on. Like
I thought it was a quinceañera.
It was like maybe a quinceañera or something. There's literally so many people, and there's like a bunch of like Spanish-speaking people like of some descent, like just like kind of having a party or doing something, but there's so many cars in the road, and it's literally like, I'm not getting through here. Like, this is not going to happen. I'm stuck with my van and trailer. And I'm like, and I was like, hey, what's going on? Like I roll out my window, and they're like, oh, you like, this is happening. Like, you're just going to have to like wait. And I'm like, I literally can't wait. We have to get to this show. And they're like, well, you can't back up. And I was like, no, I'm backing. And so I literally backed the trailer into someone's yard or like driveway or something, and was like there's just so much chaos around us. Like I'm literally driving to this like fucking quinceañera, and like everyone's like going crazy, and they're like, no, you can't move. And I'm like, I'm about to move. Like this is happening. And so I just like it was probably not 3-point, it was probably like 12-point turn out of this fucking place and just like get right out of it. And it was like literally it was just insane. And then we finally get there, and it's just a storage space that people were living in, and we played in it. And then afterward I couldn't find my wallet, and we were like, I thought I lost my wallet, and we're like, Kyle, our drummer at the time, was like, dude, like, I think that guy over there stole your wallet. Like, he was like being sketchy and whatnot. I was like, do you really think that? And like, we're literally looking for it. And Kyle's like, we're about to like accuse this guy of stealing my wallet, when Kyle finds out he put it in his pocket. And Christ. So he like, he's like, been in my wallet the whole time. I mean, it's been in my pocket the whole time. And he was like, you have to act like you found this all casually. And I'm like, I fucking hate you. Like the first thing I asked him was, did you accidentally pick it up? And he's like, no, dude, I didn't do that. I'm not an idiot. Yeah. So yeah, that was a very long day. And I'm pretty sure that was the same day he drank piss. I'm pretty sure that was the same day, because we were driving away we were going back up to Jacksonville, because Dave's dad lives there.
Jesus Christ, y'all have had some time, like, for real. Holy shit.
I did. That was the 2-week tour that he was on with us that we crashed on. You don't remember? Right?
Was it really?
Dude, he's trying to get the thought of drinking piss out of his head. Come on.
No, it wasn't that side.
Oh, we went to Florida twice.
Yeah, we went to Florida twice. Fort
That was
Lauderdale
only
was
like
the
a
first
week.
time.
Yeah, that was July.
No, wait, Turn might have still been with us. Bobby was with us on that tour.
I thought Turd was only with us on.
Okay, Turd
January.
wasn't with us on that tour. Our old photographer, we called him Turd. Turd wasn't with us.
Turd. That's so fucked up. So you guys have shirts and hats available over at fallfiftyfeet.com. Some vinyl left over at heregoesnothingrex.com. CDs available over at darkchillrecords.bandcamp.com and tapes over at don'tstressflowerpress.bandcamp.com. A lot of different websites to go to, but there you go. Oh, we got a sticker for Dark Chill. That's a fucking sick sticker. I got that around here somewhere too. I could do even better, man. We got. Oh, I guess this is the old one, but the old one with the.
I have like 40 of those too.
Damn, you're sticker rich, man. This is a sick hat. What is that design supposed to be?
Which one?
The one you're holding up.
It's a guy being tortured in hell.
Okay.
Yeah, Hume, Soul Craze.
Oh, that was really tight. Oh,
So tight.
that's what she said.
LMAO, dude. You got any last minute quickies for us?
Well, I was just gonna move to the outro, but we could do real quick what your album of the year is so far.
Album of the year. Let me check.
Dave keeps a list.
Yeah, I have a list of every album I've listened to this year.
Damn.
It's a lot. I'm telling you.
Dave listens to music.
Cloudsurf says save one for me for the Donatos show. I don't know which one specifically they were talking about, but there you
I
go.
really like.
Oh, the Shortcuts to Hell shirt. Okay, there we go.
I really like the Pac-Man the movie album. Paris, Texas. Death Goals.
Dude,
K
Death
and
Goals is
Ashi's
fucking sick too.
Fire as fuck. Bird Law from Illinois. Their album's incredible.
Really
Fox Lake is like one of my favorite bands right now. They're like new metal. They're fucking sick. Yeah, those are probably my most
Fall 50
serious
Feet,
contenders.
their album was really good. I like that one.
Yeah, it was okay.
Schmuck. You booked him for
Hit the
fucking
X.
interview.
Hit the X.
Oh, Pulses from Virginia. They released an EP called Speak Less. Incredible. Fucking
Fearless.
yeah. From Joy's EP was really sick. Fucking
I didn't realize they actually had an EP. I thought it was just singles. The fuck?
Oh.
I need to check that out.
the Agent Mulder Possession DB Cooper fucking split was dope as hell.
Hell yeah.
The McCow PS You're Dead split. Yeah. Oh, and Bore and Utmost, they're New York hardcore bands. Their split's incredible. So, and Koyo drives out east. Yeah, I got a lot. That's just from what I can see.
Okay.
Real quick.
Me, I honestly
The Wrist Meat Razor album is really good too.
I don't think I've listened to any new music.
I actually get that a lot. There's a lot of musicians that don't listen to new shit.
I have listened to a bunch, but honestly, the only thing that's really been on repeat, like the K&Ashi album is really good. That's sick. I feel like there was another album around there that got released like by someone who was kind of friends with us that I really like.
You like the
But-
Death Goals album?
Death Goals album was really good. Honestly, this band we used to play with this band in Maryland, and they're like kind of older dads, and that band broke up, but one of the dudes started a new band, and it's like kind of like a hum worship, like hum Deftones kind of worship, and they're called Nub,
Nub.
like KNUB,
Okay.
Nub, and the song Ribs, that's been on repeat because the hook of that fucking hits, and like it's honestly sick. Like Nub, check out Nub. I've been like, our next album is gonna be way different because all I've been listening to is like late 90s, early 2000s emo and rock. So yeah.
Alrighty.
What do you got, Scoot?
You got anything?
Me?
You listen to music? No.
I listened to Young Jesus
Oh yeah.
and Ugly God.
Wait, Ugly God? He hasn't dropped shit in so long.
This
I have
came
no
out
idea who those people are.
This
a
came out.
rapper, Ugly God.
This came out
Okay.
last year, but Carson Pace from the Callous Cowboys sent this album to me. It's like some Icelandic or Finnish or some, I don't fucking know, pop like kind of album.
Okay.
RN. It fucks so hard. It's really good. It's really good.
Okay.
But other than that, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and honestly, I've been very. Wait, didn't the For Your Health album come out this year?
It did.
Yeah, For Your Health.
Yeah, that's fire.
For Your Health is number one.
For Your Health
Damn
is
straight.
incredible.
They're fucking sick.
Oh, yeah, and Hazing Over. But For Your Health.
Oh my
is
god,
probably
yeah.
number
How did I
one.
forget these? I listen to so much shit. It's hard to keep track of it all.
Dave's like, oh my god, I listen to so much music.
Yeah, but also I've been listening to a lot of Remembering Never and Poison the Well and Greyhaven. Seriously, check out Greyhaven. They're incredible.
Like I said, you're like the 5th guest I've had that's told me to check them out. So I need to. I definitely should.
Good dudes, even better musicians. And I think they have a new album coming soon, and I'm sure it's gonna rip. But yeah.
Well, that's all I had to talk about. Unless y'all wanted to bring something else up, we'll just move to the outro.
Listen to Twisted World Perspective. Then never listen to it again.
Can I shout out a bunch of homies real quick?
Go for it.
Okay, shout out the Callous Cowboys. Shout out 156 Silence. Shout out Black Matter Device. Blind Equation. Buried But Still Breathing. Bury Your Idols. Circuit. Death Goals. Dreg. Fox Lake. From Joy. For Your Health. Greyhaven. Hazing Over. Kainashi. Carrots Gold. Lower Automation. Murmur. P.S. You're Dead. Pulses. Pupil Slicer. The Queen Guillotine. Satyr. Thought Crime. Wanderer. Your Spirit Dies. And fucking Zombie Shark. As well as Dark Trail Records, Christian's the Homie.
Hell yeah.
Now, Mathcore Index, Here Goes Nothing, Don't Stress Flower Press, Dr. Acula, and shout out Jesus Christ. Amen.
Hell yeah.
On God. And shout out you, because you're
Oh,
awesome.
Thank you. Shout out to you too,
everyone
man.
in the chat, even though we didn't answer like any other questions or anything.
Oh, the chat was just memeing most of the time, so.
Okay. on God. So yeah.
Coward Device said this was a really good episode. I agree. I think this is one of the better ones.
So likable and hilarious.
First good episode.
The first good episode, yes. So, if you're looking for a fresh take on mathcore, look no further than Twisted World Perspective, the debut album from Fall 50 Feet, which dropped in July through 3 labels: Dark Trail Records for the CDs, Here Goes Nothing Records for the vinyl, Don't Stress Flower Press for the tapes. You guys are on Facebook, Instagram, Bandcamp, YouTube, Twitter, all streaming services. Are there any other? I guess you have a website, fallfiftyfeet.com. Are there any other?
And all of our socials is Fall 50 Feet.
Fall 50 Feet.
No Fall 50 Feet Band. No Fall 50 Feet 304. No, it's fucking Fall 50 Feet because we rule and we rock.
Hell yeah. Claim to before the posers.
Stone's in there?
Hi, Stone. No, he might watch this later.
Yeah, shout out our photographer, Stone. That's the homie.
So as for me, drop my channel, follow so you always know when I go live. You can also sub to get access to the interviews before they hit YouTube and streaming services, as well as some exclusive emotes. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. YouTube folks, if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like, click the notification bell. Don't forget to subscribe. It's a great way to support me for free. Check out my music, The Sound That Ends Creation, at thesoundthatendskreation.bandcamp.com. Dropped a new single, Get Your Shirt Off, It's Perfect Time, features Cameron McBride, Methwitch. Dropped it last week. Go check it out, watch the video. My next guest is Fawn Limbs, who's dropping their new album, Darwin Falls, this Friday. Fucking sick as shit. Join us.
I got like all their records on vinyl.
Dude, hell yeah, man. Join us this Sunday, the 15th at 12 p.m. Central for the live cast. Thanks for being here, guys. Hope you had a good time.
I love you.
I love you too, man.
Great meeting you.
And thank you guys for watching and listening.